All right. There he is, Matt Verderame. Matt, do you have kids?
I have two of them.
And Happy New Year, by the way.
Happy New Year.
Well, listen, are you going to bring them down to the zoo here in Miami?
I feel like my house is a zoo.
No, but we have a zoo here, bro. We got a cheetah on the team. We got a penguin on the team. We just added a giraffe now.
You guys have a lot going on. There's a lot going on down in Miami. Yes.
You know, we got a petting zoo and an NFL team. You can't beat that, bro. See?
That's right.
All your titles and all the stats that Mahomes has and anything that Kelsey does, you don't have a zoo. See?
That's true. The ticket now is really the best value in town for Miami.
I mean, you know, come on. Same property, you get a zoo and you get a football team. I mean, that's pretty impressive. I was explaining to folks because, you know, you have some people like Mike Glennon. And I'm like, dude, it's week 18.
Yeah.
You think the guy that's retired and 34 or 37 is going to say, oh, yeah, sure, I'll come back for a week. Just in case I get injured, I'll spend my entire 2023 rehabbing. And by the way, if you're married, you think your wife really wants you to play 1 week for a game check when you've been retired and you probably got, you know, enough money in the bank as it is. So any of the really good veteran quarterbacks that might have been available, not that they're very good, but experienced or whatever, those guys aren't going to sacrifice coming back. Oh, and by the way, you're asking it on the week that Damar Hamlin's situation happened, which again will send shockwaves through families and wives all over the place.
Of course. That would have sent shockwaves regardless of when that game was. That could have been just a standard 1 o'clock kick when, you know, a meager audience by NFL standards was watching. That was maybe the biggest game of the NFL season on national TV. And everybody saw that. Players, coaches, wives, girlfriends, kids in some cases, and the players themselves, you know, who have to now go play this weekend. I mean, there's absolutely going to be a mental, psychological impact from it. But as far as, you know, talking about Mike Glennon and like the Dolphins are concerned, I'd be pretty surprised if Skylar Thompson's not lining up behind center come Sunday afternoon for the Dolphins.
Oh yeah, there's no doubt that it's going to be him. And I was telling, like, one guy goes, "Well, if he doesn't start well, get Mike Glennon in there." I'm like, "No, dude, you don't want Mike Glennon in there. Okay,
you do not.
You don't want Mike Glennon in there. He's got a nice arm. He just has no idea where it's going. Like zero clue where the ball is going to land. So it's just, you know, Matt. It's funny because, and you probably run into it. You can tell the people that don't really watch all the games and all that. They might watch their favorite team, but they aren't really watching the, you know, because we had guys down here like, Teddy's going to take Tua's job. I'm like, dude, have you ever seen Teddy play? Like, did you watch him in New Orleans? Yeah, they went 5-0. Yeah, he threw 9 touchdowns in 5 games. Did you watch him in Minnesota? You know, I explained to folks, like, he had 1 year where he had Thielen, he had Diggs, Wallace. Mike Wallace was his third receiver. He had Kyle Rudolph. AP ran for like almost 1,500 yards.
Right.
He had a really good offensive line. It was like 17 touchdowns and 14 interceptions.
You know, listen, I mean, it is what it is. Okay. I mean, if you're the Dolphins, you're looking at this game thinking, we got to win. We got to hope the Patriots lose, which that game is impossible to handicap. I don't know with the Bills and Pats. I mean, are the Bills in any kind of a frame of mind to play? I mean, obviously there's been good news today with Damar Hamlin, which is fantastic. I don't know what you could get a Bills team that's sky high on Sunday because they want to play for Damar and everything. You could also have a Bills team that says, look, 6 days ago, we just went through the most harrowing experience of our lives, and we don't really care about playing the Patriots right now. I have no clue what you're going to get. So, you know, if you're the Dolphins, first things first, you got to win. You got to beat a Jets team that's reeling. They've lost 5 in a row, but the Dolphins exactly on fire. You know, also losers of 5 in a row. So we'll see. But look, the Dolphins are going to need Skylar Thompson to go out and play well. I think that's pretty much reality.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And somebody was asking me about Tua, and I said, man, I you know, because they said he's in the early stages of the concussion protocol. I don't care what happens, even if they luck in and they get in or whatever. And even if Florio's idea now that he put out in a report that they're thinking about adding an 8th team or something like that, which to me, that doesn't make any sense. I'll get to that in a second. But even if you sneak in, I wouldn't play Tua at all this year. I think his brain and his head needs an entire offseason to reset. And
Yeah, I probably agree.
Nowinski? Is it Nowinski? The guy that's huh?
Oh, yeah.
Nowinski? Yeah, the guy's a former athlete and a concussion expert and all that. He said that the key for Sidney Crosby has always been, because he's got a shitload of concussions.
Yeah, very few.
But what he's done is he's rested every time he gets one. He allows it to fully heal before he takes the ice again. And you didn't do that with him, probably between the Buffalo and the Cincy game. And now you've got this. So you're better off just taking the safe route this year and say, look, dude, his stats are still one of the best in the league, and he's missed 5 games. Like, he's missed 5 games, and he's still one of the best quarterbacks in the league stat-wise. So last time I checked, that's still better than anybody outside of Marino since he left. Bro, keep him intact and start it over next year and hope for the best next year. Plan for something else as a backup, but to put him out there now, you might ruin his entire future.
Yeah, no, I don't see, and I'm not a doctor, I'm not in that building. I don't see a reasonable path to play Tagovailoa again this year. I just don't. So 3 concussions. And if you're the Dolphins, like, look, you always want to win. You're always competitive. You always want to go out there and play every game. Realistically speaking, even if you make the playoffs, you're going on the road and beating Buffalo or beating Kansas City or beating the Bengals right now? Probably not. To risk it all with this guy seems insane.
And you're not going anywhere.
Right. I mean, it's not like you're, I mean, and I think, look, people could say, well, even if you were going somewhere, okay, but realistically, that makes it a harder decision with, if he's saying he can play and he's passing protocol. People could say that shouldn't be the case, but that is the case. This is the National Football League. That is the case. Yeah. But I think, look, if you're the Dolphins, you got to err on the side of caution with them. You try to go out and win this weekend. You see what happens. Now, there's a lot of wrinkles in play right now. We don't even know what's going on with all the mechanisms regarding Hamlin's situation and how it's going to affect the AFC playoff picture. There's a million different scenarios out there. Albert Breer just reported that one idea that's getting traction is that they're basically just going to seed these teams as they would by win percentage, and the AFC title game is going to be in Indianapolis. And they'll just have that if the Chiefs and the Bills get there.
I don't get this. Let me. Okay, so I'm not a genius. I'm an idiot. I just do a talk show every day. That's all. I'm just a regular dude. Okay, we have a dead week in between the Super Bowl. What are we doing here, bro? Nobody's made the playoffs yet. Nobody's made any reservations to fly. So you're not screwing any fans over right now. Dude, we just push everything back 1 week. And so now we have the 18th week, and then week 19, we get to like make that Cincinnati Bills game the crowning, game of the, like almost like a Super Bowl, like, and it's going to get you better ratings than the Pro Bowl anyway. Way better. And so now you'll be able to sell that game. You'll make all the money. And then the following week, you can start the divisional. You can start the wild card, divisional, and then conference. And you go, instead of a 2-week dead period for the Super Bowl, we just have 1 week, bro, like regular. That's how you suck it up and you get it done. I don't know if they want to whore out the 2 weeks of trying to promote the game. I don't know. Maybe the networks gain from this. I have no idea. But that dead week saves your ass.
It does. And you know what? You're right. And I think that was a lot of people's first thoughts. I know my first thought was, why not do that? But I think there's 2 things at play. One, I don't think they want to play this Bills-Bengals game. I don't think they want to play it. I think after what happened.
Oh, but now he's got good news, bro.
I understand.
He's communicating. He's heading in the right direction.
Which is awesome. But I don't think the league wants to play that game based off of what happened in it. Also,
all optics.
Yeah.
Just because you have to relive that moment while you're in the broadcast.
I think that's a big part of why.
Well, we might end up with both of them in the AFC Championship game. We're going to have to do it again.
Look, if the Chiefs win on Saturday and the Bills and the Bengals beat their wild card opponents, they're going to play each other in the divisional round. Right. I mean, whether it's in Buffalo or Cincinnati, whatever, they're going to play each other. But here's the thing that's really interesting here. So I'm with you, but I think what you said is right. The NFL wants to promote that game for 2 weeks. I mean, they want to promote the Super Bowl for 2 weeks, so they don't want to push anything back. My thing with this is, look, this is an extraordinary circumstance. Extraordinary. Like, there's no great answer for this.
No.
Everything's going to be critiqued to death. I think, look, the bottom line is if they say, let's say they go with what Albert Breer is saying is gaining traction, and they are just going to seed these teams based on winning percentage. If the Chiefs win on Saturday, which is a key note here, Saturday, the Chiefs are the number 1 seed. They cannot be caught.
Nothing else matters. Yeah.
Why would the Bills even play against New England?
Right.
I mean, they're just going to, I would imagine they're not going to. I guess, because I think, and I should double check this, but we're on the air. I haven't had the opportunity. I think they'd be locked into the 2 seed if that game's declared a no contest and the Chiefs win Saturday.
Oh yeah, because they're a game ahead of the Bills. I mean, of the Bengals.
Right. And I think,
right. So if they both win, they stay the game ahead because the Bengals has, I get you.
The Bengals and the Bills, I think it would come down to like strength of victory, and the Bills have a much better strength of victory. So I think that's what it would be. Yeah. If you're the Bills, you're locked into 2. You're not going to play that game. You got to play next weekend. Like, why would you? And if you lose that game, you are going to play the Patriots at home in the playoffs. And you'll have just watched them. Like, to me, if I'm the Bills, it's not even cool. There's no way I would play that game. There's a very good chance if that happens, the Bills and the Bengals, who play the Patriots and the Ravens, respectively, this coming weekend, won't play hard. And then we'll see the exact same team come back into their building the following week.
Right.
So, I mean, I think that's a very real scenario.
That's, I don't know. To me, you got that dead week. Go ahead. And plus, you don't even have a game anymore. It's just a skills competition. You can actually, promote it during the week and stuff. But again, that takes away from Super Bowl week. Although you can maybe play that game on a Monday or something. Because you don't start. You don't start. No, it's Wednesday when media day is, right? Or Tuesday. What is it? Tuesday or Wednesday?
Media day.
Yeah, media day for the Super Bowl. Is it Tuesday?
Now it's Monday night. It's Monday night.
Wow. Okay, so then. Yeah, no, that would be.
I could move it, of course, but right now it's Monday nights.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, you maybe you move it to Tuesday night, and you have all the skills competition for the Pro Bowl on Monday, and that's it, and get all that crap out of the way. I don't know. It's really. I guess how much do you cherish what you're doing with the Pro Bowl? You know what I mean?
Hopefully you don't.
Yeah,
I mean. You know what? Honestly, the Pro Bowl, play it after the Super Bowl again. Who cares? That we all lived with that for years on end, right?
Amen.
I mean, just move it. Who cares?
Yeah.
Like, are people really planning their lives around the Pro Bowl?
No. I enjoyed more when I was a kid Battle of the Network Stars than I ever did the stinking Pro Bowl. And I'm not joking, bro. The Battle of the Network Stars was a lot more fun. I don't know. You might be a little too young for that, but it is on YouTube.
I know what it was. I know what it was.
For those of you out there that are a little too young for the Battle of the Network Stars, go ahead, knock yourselves out, go on YouTube. It was actually fun. It was actually fun. Fun watching Mark Clayton deadlift like 500 pounds or something. It's like, what?
You imagine that now, but there's no way you could ever have that now.
Yeah.
Back then, I was like, yeah, what the hell?
Yeah. It was actually a fun deal. And they all used to perform. They all used to go out to do that thing. So that was actually cool. Now, the Damar Hamlin stuff, we got some good news, at least neurologically. It looks like he's, it's all intact and it's coming back and he's making progress. And that's really, really cool, man. And I got to tell you, the one thing is having those first responders right there, man. Yep. That was everything and anything, because we might have, because damn, bro, I almost thought he was going to die. To be quite honest, the way it looked, but having those first responders changed everything. Dude. Everything.
I mean, there's no doubt. I was sitting here. My parents are in town right now for a late Christmas, I guess. We were all sitting there. My parents, myself, my 5-year-old daughter, and my wife watching the game when that happened. And thankfully, my daughter a little bit too young, and we were just like, "Oh, yeah, he's hurt, honey. He'll be okay," And that was good enough for her. But my wife is in the medical field; she has a doctorate. She immediately was like, "Yeah, I think he had a heart attack," and obviously he didn't. He went into cardiac arrest, which is different than a heart attack. But Yeah, I mean, she initially she was pretty convinced that it was going to be the worst case scenario just based off what was going on. And I think for me, just to have covered the league, the thing that really scared me more than anything else was the reaction of the players. You just don't ever see guys have that kind of reaction ever. I mean,
Yeah.
you cover this
Oh,
game long enough. You've seen guys get stretchered off the field. You've seen guys unconscious. You've seen probably an ambulance or two come out onto a field. It would not be the first time. Rare,
yeah,
but
air cast or whatever,
right.
but you're always
And
fist pumping. There's
that's
a hand in the air. There's a wave. You
guys
know,
always
all that. As bad as it is, all that.
when
What we saw, never saw that, bro.
when guys are openly just
Right?
sobbing on the field.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
you knew at that point something is really wrong. Like really like beyond anything you've seen on a football field. I'm just so grateful to all those first responders who knew exactly what to do, did it right away, did it correctly. I mean, God willing, the way it looks like they saved his life. I mean,
Yeah.
it looks like he's going to be able to hopefully have a full recovery. And you know, somebody and I forgive me, I forget who I saw tweet this out, but essentially said we saw the most horrific thing you could ever see in real time on national TV. We also might have saw the best act of heroism you've seen in some time. And I think that was well put. So I would hope the NFL honors those first responders, does everything you possibly can to shine a light on them. They deserve it. They maybe averted an unbelievable tragedy by doing their jobs and doing it exceedingly well.
By the way, Rob Maddie of the Associated Press is reporting that the Bills-Bengals game will not continue. Seems to be a precursor to the official announcement, which will likely come today. NFL Players Association has scheduled a briefing at 4 p.m. regarding the Damar Hamlin situation, and there's no firm reporting on what the league will do regarding the AFC playoff seeding. Various possibilities have been mentioned and discussed. There is no perfect option there right there, and so it looks like this game will not be replayed.
I think at this point, it's just look with every hour that goes by, the more I'm convinced they're just going to cancel the game. I mean, I think you would have heard it by now. Like, hey, they're going to play next Thursday. They're going to play next weekend. You know, whatever it is. You're not hearing that. You've consistently heard that they are probably leaning toward having a no contest. I think the real question at this point, I would be shocked if they played. I think the real question is going to be, what do you do now? You know, there's been talk about, do you make it 8 playoff teams? You just get rid of the bye and you play that out. Couldn't you imagine? I mean, now, look.
Hey, your parents are there for a late Christmas. The Dolphins are in for a late Christmas. Here's a playoff spot.
Right. Well, you know, really what's nuts is if you do that, you also have to do it competitively for the NFC. So now you're adding an 8 team in the NFC, and the Eagles, who have been just cruising to a bye week their entire season, it's like, hey, guys, guess what? You're playing Detroit.
No. Or maybe they go 2 bye weeks. I mean, they go 2 for the bye week.
Well,
they're adding that other team, so 6 will play, 2 sit out.
I thought that. Here's the problem. I thought the same thing. Do the math on it. If those 6 teams play, you're left with 3, then you have 5 in the divisional round. You can't do it.
No, you still can't. Yeah,
you can't do it. I thought about that.
It has to be. That's right. That's a good point.
You know, so you're stuck. You will remember, and I know because I love history.
Thanks for telling me I'm old.
1982, they played with 8 teams in each conference because of the strike. They did do it, and the Dolphins went to the Super Bowl, right? I mean, so my dad's still better about that because he bet every game of the playoffs right except for the Super Bowl. If the Dolphins had won that game, he would have won it. But in any event,
well, tell him to blame Kim Bocamper for Joe Theismann stripping him from the ball, bro. Come on, we needed that turnover. No, the Diesel was amazing in that game, dude. Wow,
he took over.
My God, he ran over the Dolphins, and was it Jay Brophy or somebody? I forgot who it was. Is really some of our bad linebackers in those days. Yeah, that was bad.
Yeah, that was bad. But that's still better. But yeah, I mean, there have been 8 playoff teams in either conference before. It's the only time it ever happened. Again, it was because of a strike and they missed half the season. But I don't know. I honestly feel, for whatever it's worth, I think the easiest thing, the path of least resistance, would just be no game, and you just play it out like you'd play it out. And you just, now, I get it. That's unfair in some ways because then the Bills can sit there and say, we didn't get to play the game. I get it. But no matter what you do, to me, it's going to be so sterile. Hey, guys, the Chiefs and the Bills are in the AFC Championship game. And, oh, by the way, it's at Lucas Oil Stadium.
Right. Right.
It's just like I'd almost rather have the game be like even put it in Buffalo, like put it anywhere, like have some fans. It'd just be so weird.
Yeah.
But I guess this is a circumstance where something's going to come out of it that's going to be weird.
Yeah. And by the way, you when you brought back the strike year,
Yeah.
it just reminds me of how good Shula was. Because his team was like in the okay, Scabs, all right, well, we gotta all right, they're bringing on Scabs. And like Shula's team is like one of the least penalized. It's one of the most disciplined teams, and it's all Scabs. But it's just like it's funny how that whole Bum Phillips line that he can beat Hism with Yurzen and Yurzen with Hism, you know, that line that Bum Phillips used. And that's one thing that stood out to me because hell, dude, we got to the Super Bowl that year with Woodstock.
I know.
At quarterback. Not only did you get through the strike, not only did he outcoach everybody else with his scab, but then he also had to use two quarterbacks in order to get to the Super Bowl. Two completely different quarterbacks, a running and a real, pocket passer. And it's
Well, you
really
have AJ Dewey to thank for that AFC title game.
Yeah.
And also Richard
interceptions.
Yeah. Richard Todd, you guys should retire his number down in Miami.
My God. The games, the numbers that guy would put up. And Wesley Walker with one eye is catching like 10 passes and 130 yards on the Dolphins, like all the time. I mean, it was just impressive. Did you know that Wesley Walker had one eye?
No, I did not know that.
Played with a glass eye?
I had no idea. That I did not know. I was probably
Wesley Walker. Hell of a player.
He was a great player. Him and Al Toon. Yeah.
Yeah. Had one eye. Freeman McNeil also was the other guy used to burn the hell out of that wasn't actually a bad team that the Jets had. The Jets
beat the Bengals that year, and they beat the Raiders both on the road. They had a hell of a run all the way to the and then they ran into just a monsoon down in the Orange Bowl.
And those were pretty good Bengals teams those days. The Boomer Esiason, Brooks, all those, all Eddie Brown, all those kind of guys. That was a pretty damn good team. Sam Weiss did a really nice job. Which, as you know, Sam was with Paul Brown and Bill Walsh in Cincinnati. For many years. Yeah, definitely. Good stuff. All right. This week, what do you think about the Dolphins and the Jets? Just out of curiosity, that you really care.
No, I think it's what if Skylar Thompson plays, I think it's going to be hard for the Dolphins to score points in this game. I do. I mean, I just think it's going to be one of these games where the Dolphins are going to have to win this thing like 16-13, 17-14. It's hard to say with these teams because the Jets have nothing to play for. So it's like, are the Jets motivated to play because they could be a spoiler? Or do the Jets just lay down like a dog because they just don't care and they're ready to go home? Like,
I haven't seen that from Saleh, bro. Let me tell you, I know it's blasphemous for me to say it because this is a Miami-driven show and all that. I like that dude. I like how he's wired. I think he does a really good job of managing his team. His team plays hard for him every week, man.
I agree with you. I think they will play hard. I think it's going to be a very tight game. I think it's going to be a one-score game. I think the big question is, does Thompson make a huge mistake in the game? Or can he avoid that and they can win the game by running the ball and make it a short throw that turns into a big gain? I think the biggest question for Miami really right now is what is the playoff format going forward here? Because if the Bills have nothing to play for come Sunday, none of this matters.
Yeah, I know.
So, I mean, that to me is kind of the question at hand here. Like, because if you're the Bills, if you're locked into it too, even if you're like, listen, we're going out and we're going to play. Do you want to play the Pats or the Dolphins in the wild card round? Like, if you're the Bills, you'd rather play New England.
Yeah.
I'd definitely rather play New England. Like, so I mean, to me, I think that's the big question is, or do you get the Chiefs to lose to the Raiders and then it all matters? Which, by the way, for people who say that could never happen, the Chiefs are 5-0 in the division this year. They've won those 5 games by a combined total of 16 points. Okay, wow. The Chiefs never blow these teams out in the division. Ever.
And they turn over the ball.
They turn over the ball a ton. They sleepwalk through half the game because they just assume they're going to win the game. They have beaten the Broncos by 9 points combined over 2 games, 6 points combined with the Chargers, and they beat the Raiders 30-29 after they fell behind 17-0. So it's not as wild as people think that the Chiefs could lose it. Now, is Jarrett Stidham going to play the way he played against the Niners? I don't know. Was that like just a one-off miracle? They should do that again. But I think the Raiders are going to be in that game. I don't think they'll win, but I think they're going to be in the game.
Yeah, no, and the Chiefs, they have to play hard anyways because they got to lock up the number 1 seed.
They do.
So,
they'll play hard.
you know, they've got all the motivation in the world to take a week off, bro. You
Yeah.
know, so to me, that part, you know, you've kind of earned it all year. What are you gonna do? Give it away now? And listen, the Raiders are, even if the Raiders take the lead, we all know that they taketh and they
Yeah.
giveth away. So you
That's
know that's also very possible in the process. All right, one more thing before I let you go. Don't forget to follow Matt on Twitter at Matt Verderame. Plan B for next year has to be better than Teddy B. Because if you do bring back, well, you are going to bring back Tua because he's under contract and all that.
right.
It is stupid to even cut him anyways. You're going to bring him back, but you're going to have to try to find a plan B that's better than Teddy Bridgewater because, yeah, you can keep Skyler and keep developing him, but you still can't thrust him into that spot unless this Sunday the guy all of a sudden throws for 400 yards and 3 touchdowns and he starts to look really good against a really good defense. Then maybe we can start to think about that. But in general, you can't expect to thrust that kid in there. So, what would be Matt Verderame's plan B to try to go? What quarterback is realistic? Veteran that'll come in and sit behind Tua and wait for an opportunity if it arrives. Who would that be?
Yeah, it's hard because I think a lot of people immediately are like Jimmy G or like, but he's not going to want to do that. That's not
And
gonna
he's worse than Tua, by the way. He misses more games than Tua.
yeah, he's always injury prone. So Derek Carr's not going to go sit behind him, but he's going to start. I don't want Carson Wentz if I'm the Dolphins. Even if you can get him to back him up, I don't want any part of Carson Wentz throwing 3 interceptions every week. Trubisky to me is not that enticing. Like I don't at that point I'd probably just stick with Bridgewater, frankly. Like I don't think there's that much of an upside. I think, if you're them, if you're looking around and Baker's probably the most talented, but does he have the temperament to do it? Like, could Baker sit there and do that? Talent-wise, he's probably the best answer. I don't know that you're going to get him to do that, though. I'll give you another name, Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton's played pretty well this year, and I think he could do that. Like he's shown he can do that.
Oh,
Andy
yeah, he can do
Dalton
it. For sure he can do it.
Pro.
He's a pro.
He's a pro. Like I think Andy Dalton, if the Dolphins paid him enough to go there and be a backup, like I think that's actually a pretty good spot. Like Andy Dalton could get you in the playoffs. He just went 8-8 or whatever he went with the Saints.
Yeah,
right.
He's not going to win games for you, but he can be a facilitator at times. Yes, you're right.
I think Andy Dalton as a backup, he's one of the best backups in football, and he's a vet, and he's a pro, and I think he could go in there and he could throw slants to Tyreek Hill. Like, you can do that. So I think that's probably a good answer.
That is actually a very good answer. All right, tell them about Stacking the Podcast and the article.
All right, so you can check out the Stacking the Box column every Monday, 6 a.m. Eastern on Fanside. It's up all day long, of course. I tweet it out as well. And the podcast, please go over to the channel on YouTube, like it, subscribe to it. It is every Tuesday live at noon Eastern. And you can just find it whenever you want to after that, of course, whether you want to check it out on YouTube after the fact or you want to subscribe anywhere you get your podcasts. And then after that, you got Wednesdays, quarterback rankings, Thursdays, picks. There's no shortage. There's no shortage of content. So go and check it out after you're done watching Big O.
The gaming dude drops in a super chat and he says Marcus Mariota, and I say no. But Jason Myers has an interesting one, although I think he kind of revitalized his career. Sam Darnold.
Sam Darnold's interesting for sure. I mean, he's played great down the stretch. He really has.
Yeah.
I don't hate that. I like that. Different.
Notice that all the quarterbacks that leave Matt Rule play better.
Yes, they do. They do.
Okay? Like Baker's played his best football with the Rams the last couple of weeks over what he did with Matt Rule. And now Matt Rule left, and now this kid's playing the best he's played there.
How, the Panthers couldn't win a game for 3 years. They traded Christian McCaffrey. Everybody in the world's like, they're done. And then they got Matt Rule out of there, and they immediately started winning games. Just immediately. Like, didn't even wait. They're like, yeah, we're a 500 team now. Like, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So,
they have some players on defense.
They're talented. Like, they're young.
They got some weapons on offense. They're not really that bad as people make them out to be. It's just Matt Rule probably didn't fit, being an NFL coach. That's all. There's nothing wrong with that. That happens, dude.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. All right, follow him on Twitter at Matt Verderame and catch his work there at Fanside and Stack in the Box. As always, I appreciate you, my brother. We'll catch up next week.
Sounds good. Take care.
You got it. There you go. The great Matt Verderame. Great stuff. RedRecover.com. Right now, the sale is going on. Right now, 50% off. And one of our listeners, by the way, I'm going to see if I find it and take advantage right now. 50% off is absolutely crazy. Dennis Akers. He says, Big O, I got a Red Recover wrap for my Yorkie. He broke his leg as a puppy and has rods in his legs that has affected his hips. And I'm telling you, brother, that wrap works. He's doing great. Yep, I'm telling you, because it alleviates the soreness. It gets the blood flow going. That's the thing. When you have that rod in there, it's not the same. It's the same as my man next door here. When he's got bone on bone, it gets the blood flow going. So it alleviates that pressure, you know? By the way, the dentist had go to redrecover.com, 50% off. I'm telling you, you got an injury, a surgery, a scar that you wanted to disappear. They've got the wrap so you can put on your face for the ladies for the crow's feet. You know, red light therapy is amazing.